Hey guys, so how to start an accounting firm. And how to start an accounting business as well. So when I first started in 2015, there wasn't a lot of blueprints on like how to start an online accounting firm. And what happened and what that led to was me taking a lot longer to find success than what I really needed to. Right now, if you notice, my background's a little bit different. I am in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm staying at Airbnb, a lot of cats, etc. So you might see some cats running through the background. You know, just is what it is at this moment in time. But, you know, if you really understand these three key principles, then you're going to have much more clarity. And what I found is that the more clarity I have, the more certainty I have. Because the biggest thing that you really struggle with when you're starting a business is the certainty that you are on the right path. And if you were to put your effort and your time into something, it would have a very it would have a proportional outcome, and it would be worth it. That's really kind of what it is. Like, a lot of people, like, when they're first starting their business, they say, like, is this worth it for me? And you really have to kind of understand this in order to understand. So number one, what service are you going to offer? Now, the reason why services are important is because there is a hard way to make a lot of money, and there is an easier way to make a lot of money. I'm not necessarily saying it's like easy, get rich quick kind of thing, but I'm just saying easier path, and it's all based on being strategic. So for example, let's say that you're going to offer like monthly bookkeeping services. You could offer monthly bookkeeping services at $100 a month. You can offer monthly bookkeeping services for $5,000 a month, right? So knowing who we're going to go after and the price points we're charging will dictate how we either present the service, whether we have like labor that's involved, whether we're doing everything on our own, and really how much time this stuff is going to take. Now, another thing that's really important too is like really finding the balance of, if you're going to be doing monthly services, are you also doing a more accounting or tax related services like tax prep, tax planning? Because having a good mix of services will reduce how much you need to go and reach six figures. Now, most people watching this, I assume that you're trying to go and reach six figures in your business. If you're trying to reach seven figures, a lot of the stuff I talk about is not going to be like the most suited for you, because it's more for like beginners going from like 0 to like 10K, 12K, 15, maybe even 20K per month. Now, what I kind of enjoy doing is having a mixture of a recurring revenue services, whether that's bookkeeping or CFO services. And I like to have where either 2X's or 3X's of whatever your monthly bills are, so you have this just financial certainty. And from there, you offer in some kind of auxiliary service that's more package-based. Either package-based and more, it's less about the labor and more about like the value and the results you're getting. So tax planning, small business consulting. In my case, it happens to be I do a little bit of tax planning as well as a mentorship program, right? So those are my two like package-based services. And if you have package-based services that sell anywhere between like $3,000 to $10,000, you don't need a lot of clients to go get that. So think about it. If you get 10 clients at $10,000 for a tax plan, you don't need that much to go hit six figures. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is $10K per month enough for you to really like leave your job and to really be satisfied, right? Because it could cover your bills, but a lot of people, like for me, for example, if it's less than about 15 grand a month, it just simply, it just didn't excite me. You know what I meant? Or you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, for me, that number is 15,000. Who knows? Pretty soon it might be, if it's not $30,000 a month, then it might not be worth it. So that's kind of my cutoff. But it's like, what is your bare minimum that you're willing to accept in order for this thing to be the thing that you do long-term, short-term, right? Because sometimes if you watch this, you could be making 140 a year, you could be making 70 a year. I don't know exactly where you are, but you should know that number for yourself, because that's going to determine whether or not you can start it, whether or not you should start it, and whether or not it's going to be successful. Now, the next thing is going to be, when we're talking about the different services, one other thing to note is that like the service that you offer will have different levels of experience required. If you're just doing monthly bookkeeping, there's not a lot of experience required. That's why on my other YouTube channel, we teach how to do like bookkeeping, getting things started. Anyone can really start a bookkeeping business. But when we start talking about like taxation, when we start talking about audits, when we start talking about CFO services, not everyone can offer those services. You have to have a certain level of skill set. But the reason why it's cool is because if you do have that certain level of skill set, you can be able to stand out from the crowd. For example, you can get your enrolled agent's license and start offering more tax planning and have that separation that's a little bit easier, right? There's not so many people offering tax planning. There are a lot, but there's not that many offering tax planning on the internet that you can really carve out a niche for yourself. The next thing is going to be like, are you actually running, it's the way that you're going to be running your business. Are you running a very lean business, or are you trying to grow the business as much as possible? So when we think about like a very lean business, we think of what's called a cash flow lifestyle business. So a business that has very high profit margins, that's producing a lot of cash flow that can fuel your lifestyle, versus a performance-based business where you're just trying to grow it as fast and as far as you can and sell it for a huge multiple. Now, for me, I've chosen to keep my businesses more as cash flow businesses. Now, the reason why am I even talking about that? Like, wouldn't you want to grow your business as large as possible? Yes, but in the beginning, when you start a business, the reasons why you start the business are very different from what a lot of our lifestyle needs are. And what I've just found is that most people, once they hit, let's say like 20 grand per month for majority of people, that's like a point where it's like, oh, okay. So I can make 20 grand per month, and if I make 20 grand per month, then I'm good. It's 240, 250 sometimes per year, and like, you're good. You're good, right? For most people. Not everyone, but for most people. What is that? My camera got a little dark. Now, for me, I was thinking in the beginning, because I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to go hit as high of numbers possible, hit $1 million a year in my business. I was going to scale. So what that did was I left a lot of profit on the table that I was just spending on stuff where it wasn't necessary to the business. Like, I had 9 virtual assistants, I had a bunch of staff accountants. My virtual assistants, I was paying them money and just didn't even make sense why, because they weren't even doing anything, and I had nothing really for them to do. I left because you have to do your own accounting when you have your own business. I left about $600,000 in pure profits, like unnecessary spending in my business, over the last 10 years. So I could have had an extra $600,000 in my bank account if I would have focused on, running a lifestyle business from the start, rather than getting 6 years down the road and then switching and realize, it's not like, I don't know, when most people start a business, there's 2 camps. One is someone that's trying to prove themselves, and they have a chip on their shoulder, which is me, right? I didn't know if I could start a business. People, were counting me out in life and stuff, so I have something to prove. So I wanted to grow as big as possible. There's other people where it's you just want to feed your family, right? If you can feed your family, be very comfortable, have vacations, that's what you want. As I've gotten, older and more just established myself and who I am as a person, it's who are you trying to prove? Or who are you trying to show off to at this point? You know what I mean? So keep the cash flow, make the profit, and go. That's my path. That might not be your path, right? So you have to kind of decide that from the gate and really write down what are your reasons for doing it. If you have big astronomical dreams, you want to be Elon Musk and be a multi-billionaire, and you have a strong reason for that, go for the performance business. Go and just sell it eventually, right? But if you're like me and you just want to be able to go take as many vacations you want, I live in Michigan as my main time stay, but almost every single month, anywhere between 1 to 2 times per month, I'm traveling, right? That's been this way for the last 2 years. But again, since I had the cash flow business that was lean, I have a very lean set of clients and a really scalable service stack, I don't necessarily need to work as much as most other people do to get, to 200, 300K per year. Now, the third thing is going to be your go-to-market math. So again, if you first talk about the service you're offering, and then we're talking about what are your goals, right? If your goals, let's say, is to get to 100,000 per year, okay? Basic math. If you're selling tax plans for $5,000, you're going to need 20 people, right? 20 payments. Now, if you're also offering bookkeeping, it's going to be a different set of circumstances, right? So how much clients you need to get on average in order to go and make it to that goal? If your goal is 10K per month and your minimum price point is $500 per month, that means the most people you're going to need for bookkeeping services are going to be about 20 people. So really understanding that math and really sitting down and saying okay, do I want to be 50% bookkeeping, 50% tax planning, 50% bookkeeping, 50% CFO services? And when you can back into your goals, so we call it backing in. So I said, okay, so I want to make 200K a year. My services are going to start at this. I'm going to offer this service and this offers. I want 30% of my clients to come from CFO services, 30% to come from bookkeeping, 30% to come from tax planning. And I know if I get this set of people, I'm going to be able to hit this goal, and I can work backwards from there. Because if I know what my target is, the marketing channel you're going to use is going to be very, very apparent. If you have to hit $1 million in a year, you're probably not going to do LinkedIn and Facebook organically, messaging people and building an audience. You're probably going to go straight to ads, right? Advertisements. So for me, for example, and one thing we're going to be doing when we're adding a different type of tax planning for a different business owner, right? Different niche. and we're going to advertise straight away. That's going to allow us to scale that thing a lot faster without having to go make a million YouTube videos like, historically we would have to do that. But it's just based on your goals and like what are you trying to accomplish, and does the math really support it, okay? So yes, that is how you start an accounting business. Services, lifestyle versus performance, go to market math. From there, the path becomes very clear. Now, if you want to know more specific ways to market your business, go watch more videos on our channel. It's basically what we talk about, right? Pricing, marketing, sales, how to build a team. Now, if you don't want to watch a bunch of videos, you want directly what you should do to go and reach your goals, click the link either above or below the video to book a call with myself. Let's see if we can help you inside our mentorship program. In our mentorship program, we cover all this stuff we talk about on our channel, just a very step-by-step manner, and we give you a blueprint so you can grow without having to go and like make a lot of mistakes that cause most people to fail. So if you want that, if you want to be able to go grow your business, know exactly what to avoid, and go reach your goals in a fast time period, click the link, book the call. Let's see you, let's talk to you, let's see if we can help you out, okay? If you're not quite ready for a call, it's okay too. I have a lot of videos on this channel. Go watch them. Have a good one.